I've worked a lot of night shifts at St. Augustine's, but this one felt different. The halls were unusually still, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Everything was too quiet, like it was holding its breath. I could hear the sounds of my own shoes on the linoleum floor, but not much else. I paused. Was that a noise? It almost sounded like someone crying, soft, muffled. But there were no patients on this floor who would be crying. I didn't see anything. The room was empty, just a bed with neatly tucked sheets. No sign of anyone crying. But the sound, it didn't stop. I felt it in my bones. It was close, like it was right behind me. I didn't think much of it at first. Power issues happen. But then, it flickered again. And again. Flickering lights in a hospital? That's not normal. I thought someone might be playing a prank on me. But as I walked down the hallway, I realized no one was around. The silence was unbearable. I froze. The shadow moved, but no one was there. It wasn't just any shadow. It was tall, as if it had a shape, like a person. But it passed right through walls. That's when I felt my heart start racing. I wasn't alone. Someone or something was in that hallway with me. I had to get to the security office. But the footsteps? I could hear them too. Soft, but close. I don't know why I did it, but I decided to check the cameras. What I saw on the footage froze me in place. The figure was real. It wasn't a trick of the light. I could see it clearly on the camera. A patient? No, they didn't wear that gown anymore. That gown was from decades ago. I stared at the screen, unable to look away. The figure didn't move like a person. It was wrong. It was as if it was stuck in time. I turned to leave, but then there it was, standing in the middle of the hallway. The same figure, the same hollow eyes staring straight at me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I couldn't make a sound. I couldn't run. It was like my legs had turned to stone. The figure was getting closer, but I couldn't escape. It was as if the hallway stretched forever. And then, I don't know how I got out of there. 1 minute, I was face to face with that thing. The next, I was back in the nurse's station, like nothing had happened. The thing is, no one else remembers anything. The footage, gone. The shadow, deleted. I couldn't even explain it to anyone. It's like it never happened. But I know what I saw, and I'll never forget the feeling of being watched by something that isn't supposed to be there. I didn't mind the night shift. Sure, it got lonely, but that's part of the job. I'd gotten used to the quiet, to the stillness. But tonight felt different. Most nights nothing happens. Just the occasional car pulling in, filling up and leaving. But tonight, I felt a presence. Something that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I didn't think much of it at first. Another customer, probably just a late-night traveler. But something felt off as the car pulled up. There was an unsettling stillness in the air, like everything was waiting for something. The car didn't move. The driver sat there, motionless. Then finally, the door opened, and I could see him, just barely. The man, tall, wearing a long coat and a hat that shadowed his face. He didn't even look at me, just walked to the pump and started filling up, like he'd done this 1,000 times. But something about his movement, his pace, felt wrong. I stepped outside to ask if he needed anything, maybe a snack or a drink from the store, but he didn't even acknowledge me. He just stood there, staring at the gas nozzle like he was lost in thought. I thought maybe he was just tired, or maybe something else was going on. But there was something about his stillness, like he was just too calm. He came inside without saying a word. I greeted him, but he just stared past me, his eyes dark and unblinking. I offered him a drink, something to snack on, but he just shook his head slowly. You've been working here for a while, haven't you? Yeah, I've been here for a couple of months now. It's a quiet job. It's dangerous to work here at night alone, especially when the sun goes down. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still here, that he was watching me from somewhere in the dark. I couldn't even explain why it felt that way. It was just there. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe it was the silence playing tricks on me. I tried to push it out of my mind. The rest of the night was quiet, but the unease never went away. It felt like he was still out there, somewhere in the dark watching me. When I checked the security footage the next morning, there was nothing. No sign of the man, no record of him ever being in the store. It was like he'd never been there. I checked every angle, but there was nothing. No record of him getting out of his car, no footage of him walking through the door. It was like he had just vanished. I always liked working the night shift. Sure, it got lonely, but at least it was quiet. No one to bother you, just the occasional customer. But tonight felt different. I couldn't explain it, but something just didn't sit right. At first, I thought it was a delivery or maybe someone needing a bathroom break, but something about the knock, it was different. It wasn't the usual tap, tap, tap. It felt deliberate. I couldn't make out who it was, but the longer they stood there, the more my unease grew. It wasn't like anyone I'd seen before. It didn't feel like someone just passing by. I cracked open the door, ready to greet them with a smile, hoping to shake off the weird feeling. But when I heard the voice, I froze. "Ava, it's me. Open up. It's Dave." It was Dave, or at least it sounded like him. But something wasn't right. He was supposed to be at work, 2 hours away. Why would he be here? And why was he standing outside the store, in the middle of the night? I hesitated. The voice was so convincing, but I knew it couldn't be him. Dave would never show up here at this hour, not without calling first. "Ava, come on, I'm not gonna stand out here all night. Open the door." The more I thought about it, the more I realized how off everything felt. The voice, the timing, everything. I decided to call Dave just to be sure. "Ava, you better open this door. You're not gonna get away from me." "Hey babe, I'm still at work. Why are you calling?" It wasn't Dave. I was sure of it now. The man outside wasn't my boyfriend. But who was he? And why was he impersonating Dave? "You're going to let me in, Ava, or else." I called the police, but before they could arrive, the banging stopped. Everything went quiet, too quiet. When the police arrived, they found nothing. No sign of the man, no traces. It was like he had vanished into thin air. They thought I had imagined it, but I knew what I heard. I knew what I saw. That wasn't Dave, and he was still out there, watching.